Tony has got the first question in here. He's asking, could you show an example to detect a signal from 5 minutes, from a 5-minute and a 450 tick chart, so only both signals happen? Let's see. Only both signals happen, let's see, within a certain time frame, say 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Okay, so I'm going to pull up two charts here. I need to pull up a 5-minute chart and a tick chart as well. Alright, so I've got, where'd that oil chart? Oh, there's the oil chart. Okay, so here's an oil chart. And we'll put the oil on the 5-minute, and I got a YM chart, so let's put the YM on the 450 tick chart. Okay, so let's see, so we're looking for signals here. So let's try and come up with something that's okay. Yeah, here I think I got something. All right, I'm going to change this to an ES chart because the ES and the YM correlate together pretty well. And let's see, I've got a Donchian channel on my 5-minute ES chart, and and let's see, it is a oh no, I'm sorry, it's just a current day open high low. Yeah, let me put that same indicator on the YM tick chart, and we should get signals together. Let's change the colors here so we can see these. Okay. All right, so let's see here. And let's put our charts together on global crosshairs so we get some syncing going on. All right, that looks pretty good so far. And all right, and let's see. All right, so let me just build something real quick on the ES 5-minute chart here. So I'm just going to make up some kind of a signal here, and I want to start over. So let's clear everything. Oops. All right, let's clear the board, and I'm going to set up a simple solver here. Just so this is just going to be for visual purposes on the ES chart. Let's see. So alright, so we're just going to detect when, when price is at a daily high or daily low. So we're going to set input A to price, and I'm going to use the high of the bar for a long signal. So if the high of the bar is touching the daily high, basically the current day indicator, the current day open, high, low, close indicator. So if the high is touching the green indicator plot, then we're going to get a long signal. And if price is touching the low of the day, then we're going to get a short signal. So I'm just going to set this up quickly just so I can generate some signals here to really get to the... So I had to set up some signals first to address Tony's question of, of showing how to get signals from two different time frames to sync so that when you get signals from two different time frames, that generates a signal on your main chart. So once again, the question is, can you show an example on how to detect a signal from a 5-minute chart and a 450 tick chart? So you get a signal only when both charts generate a signal at the same time. So that's what we're trying to do here. So I'm just kind of setting up some simple signals here. Okay, so that should do it. All right, so you can see that whenever price is at, whenever price is making a new high, right, we're getting a long signal here. And if price is making a new low, we're going to get a short signal. Right? Just some very simplistic signals, to work with. So I have something to work with here. And now on the YM chart, this is where I'll actually build the example signals here. So let's get BloodHound open on the YM chart, and let's put in today's system here. So let's see, today is the 14th. There we go. So there's today's workshop file. And let's start working on the logic template here. All right. So 2 time frame signal example. Maybe I'll come up with a better name in here in a moment. So let's see. So first thing we'll need to do is we'll need to add a chart to BloodHound. And we want it to be a 5-minute chart. And for the instrument, we want to select the ES chart. So there we go. So we just added an ES 5-minute chart to BloodHound. So back to where we're at. So we have the default time frame inside of BloodHound, which is going to be the YM chart, right? That's my YM 450 tick chart. And then we've added a secondary time frame here, which is our ES 5-minute chart. So under the ES chart, let's see, let's do this on the logic template. So you'll notice under solver nodes, I have the default time frame, and I also have the ES chart, 5-minute time frame. So I can add a new solver directly onto the ES chart. And so let's add a comparison solver. And you notice how it has text on the top left of the solver, so it tells you what time frame that solver is working on. So let's connect that in, and we're going to set this solver up exactly the same way as we set it up over on the ES chart. So, all right. So I'll just set the prices here. And let me switch my indicator. Like so. So whenever So what we're doing here, just to kind of explain again how I'm setting the solver up. So we're using the current day open high low indicator. And so when the high price of the bar, so you can see under price type long, I have the high price selected. So when the price type long, when the high price of the bar, basically when it's going to touch the current high plot, so when it touches the current high plot for this indicator, that's going to generate a long signal. And when the low price of the bar, if the low price of the bar touches the current low plot for my indicator, that's going to generate a short signal right there. So that's how I have this solver set up. And then the other thing is I just need to adjust my outputs here, because I'm looking for when let me stretch out BloodHound here so we can see everything. All right, so basically when the high price of the bar, when it equals the indicator plot, when A equals B, so in other words when the high price equals my indicator plot, then I'm going to get a long output. And for the short output, I need to put a 1 in here too, so that way when the low price of the bar, when it equals the indicator plot, I'm going to get a short output. All right, so you'll notice that, right, the high price of the bar will only equal the plot. The high price of the bar never gets higher than the plot. It always equals it. So that's why I had to turn on the A equals B, because of the way the indicator works. Right, so basically the A is never greater than B. In other words, price is never greater than the indicator, or the bar price is never less than the indicator. Right, the way that the indicator works is price can only equal the indicator, because right, whenever price makes new highs, the indicator just keeps plotting higher and higher. So they only equal each other. Price never gets greater than the indicator. So that's why I had to use A equals B and turn those outputs on like that. So, okay, anyway, so we've got that, and let's see. You notice here, see how on my chart it says I need to press F5 to update BloodHound? So, and that's because whenever you add a time frame, whenever you add a new chart to BloodHound, you have to refresh the chart so that NinjaTrader will load that ES data for BloodHound to use. Because right now there is no ES data for BloodHound to use until we refresh the chart. All right, there we go. And so now we can see on the YM chart, what we're seeing is when the ES is making a new high. You'll see how those line up pretty close. And the way NinjaTrader's global crosshairs work, things don't always look like they line up perfectly when you're using these global crosshairs, but that's basically as best as NinjaTrader can do between indicator data versus what you're seeing on the chart and trying to get these global crosshairs to sync up. So, and you'll notice, you notice how look on the ES chart where the arrow is, right? We have a signal there, but we're missing it on the YM chart. See how we're missing that on the YM chart? And that's because the 5-minute chart the time that the bar closed on the 5-minute chart doesn't synchronize with the YM tick chart. There's no bar on the YM tick chart that synchronizes and closes with that 5-minute bar. And so that one signal on the 5-minute bar got skipped over on the YM chart. So this is something to be aware of when you're using multiple time frames within NinjaTrader. Right? If the bars don't close together and sync up, then you do get missing signals from other time frames or other chart data. So that's something to be aware of. So this is a little oversight issue within NinjaTrader, and there's really nothing that can be done about it. It's just the inherent nature of synchronizing time frames, especially when you're working with non-time based charts, right? So this tick chart is not synchronized to a time, but obviously the 5-minute chart is synchronized to a time. So so you do get this synchronization issue between the two different charts. So, but for the most part, we can see that all the signals from the 5-minute chart are coming through onto the tick chart, onto the YM tick chart. So, okay, so let's kind of get back to the question at hand. Okay, so I've got signals coming from my 5-minute ES chart, and now I'm going to build another signal here for my YM tick chart. So first let me name this solver here. Alright, so this is price at a new higher low, like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a copy of this solver, because I want to look for the exact same condition but on my default time frame. And so what I can do is I'll select my solver, and then I can use the up button, and you can see it moved my solver up to my default time frame. So I have one solver on my default time frame, and just a reminder, my default time frame, the default time frame always matches the chart that BloodHound is running on, right? So BloodHound is running on my YM tick chart, so my default time frame is my YM tick chart. So all right, so let's go back to the logic tab. So I got this solver. Now I need to go to my existing nodes, and you can see now I have two different charts here. So I'm going to go to my default time frame and put this solver on here. So this solver is on my default time frame because you notice it doesn't have any text above it. We can see this solver tells me that it's on the ES 5-minute chart. So let's plug this solver in here and check it. And there we go. So we can see whenever price is making new highs, or at least touching the new highs, we're getting a long output. And if price makes new lows, we're getting a short output. Alright, so there's our two different signals, basically. So I'm just using one solver to kind of represent, trade signals from different time frames. And so there they are together, and then all you need is an AND node. So just pop them into an AND node, and the AND node generates a signal when both your time frame signals fire together. Just use an AND node, and that does it. let's take a look here. So there you go. Now you can see when the YM and the ES are making new highs together from two different time frames, right? From a 5-minute chart and a tick chart. So interesting. So today the market looks like it was at highs for the day in the morning time when the market opened, and then looks like, I don't know, maybe some bad news came in and the market just kind of drifted off from the highs of today. So I don't know, what's the weekend, so maybe there's some concerns for some weekend news and people are backing off of the highs for today. But interesting. All right, don't want to get too sidetracked, but that's it. Just to kind of summarize, right? So you take your signal logic from your default time frame, and this represents the signal logic, from your 5-minute chart, and you just plug them both into an AND node, and that means both time frames have to fire off a signal together, right? So there you go, Tony. That should take care of that question. Yeah, there was a second part to Tony's question I completely overlooked here. I'll blame it on my cold. Yeah, so Tony wanted to see these signals only between a certain time of day as well. Yeah, so let's grab, okay, so so we're going to grab, from the default time frame, we're going to grab a time solver here. And so this time solver is going to limit the trade signals to a certain time of day. Right? So let's plug that in here like so. And so what we're going to have to do is create a custom NinjaTrader session. Right? So right now, the default session that the time solver loads up is the default 24/7. So we're going to open this up and we're going to create a custom session template, right? So these are NinjaTrader session templates that we're using. And let's see if I have a custom one. No, I don't have any custom ones on this machine here. So let's make a new custom one. So here's a little tip. I like to put an underscore in first because that'll put it at the top of the list. So NinjaTrader sorts this pull down list alphabetically. So putting an underscore will put it at the top of the list. And so let's go from 1 a.m. to say 3 a.m. something like that. So obviously you can do whatever you want. And then we're going to add a time of day. So let's go from 1 a.m. Monday to 3 a.m. Alright, so set your times up in there. And once you've got Monday done, here's a little shortcut. You can right click and then add Monday through Friday. So there you go, Monday through Friday from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Make sure to select your time zone correctly here, and then don't forget to hit save. So it doesn't look like anything happens when you hit save, but it does actually save it. And now if we look at our list, there's my custom one at the very top, and there's all the NinjaTrader default ones. So we'll click OK, and then we can see we got that custom session in there. And let's scroll to that time. So here's that time of day. Right, not very many bars. So here, how about if I let me modify this so I can get some more signals on here. So let's go up here and I'll make a copy of this, and I'll go from 1 a.m. to say 6 a.m. So that way we can get some more bars on there on the chart with some signals. And so I need to delete the other days. I'm going to go in here and just edit Monday, and then I can right click and add Monday through Friday again, then hit save and then click OK. Okay, there we go. So I've got some more bars here that signals can be generated from. So remember, what we're looking at is just a time solver, right? So this tells us when the time solver basically is kind of active, or this tells us when signals are allowed to fire off when we're looking at the time solver. So then we can just take a look at the AND node again, and then just plug our time solver into the AND node, just like that. And now you notice that there's no more signals at the end of the day anymore. Or there's no more signals during the day, I should say. So there's our limited signals there from 1 to 6 a.m. Right? And of course, if I disconnect the time solver, you can see we're going to get more signals here. And if I connect the time solver back up, it's going to eliminate some signals. So when you're using the time solver, typically you want to plug your time solver into a AND node right before the result node. So you want to have an AND node right in front of your result node, and that's where your time solver gets plugged into. It gets plugged into the last AND node just before the result node. All right. That's the typical use for the time solver. So, okay, there. I think that completes Tony's questions there. Yeah, let's see. RJ had a question that was very similar, dealing with multiple time frames here. Is it possible for Chameleon to read a moving average from another time frame? So Chameleon is a... Okay, so I guess let me add some clarity here. Chameleon is a indicator that just prints price data. It doesn't read indicators. So Chameleon is an indicator itself. It's not like a BloodHound indicator. It's just an indicator to print out price data. So let's go put Chameleon on the board here. Here's Chameleon. Yeah, so if you wanted to, I don't know, do something fun here, let's turn on use alternate instrument and time frame. So we're going to set that to true, so that way we can pull up the ES time frame, and let's put 5-minute data on here, and let's print the high and low of the 5-minute data on here, and we'll also print the closing price. So let's put a white, say, dot. We'll put a big white dot for the closing price of the ES 5-minute chart. Alright, so for Chameleon, alright, that's really all it does. It doesn't read other indicators. It just gathers price data from other instruments if you want it to, or just other time frames if you want it to. There are some other things that it does. You know, it has a look back period, it has an add value and scale value. but you can watch the training videos for Chameleon to find out what these other things do. And let's see here. And of course, you know, you're going to have a problem if you try and print price data from other instruments, because the ES data, you know, is way down here at 2,000, but of course, you know, the YM is up here at 18,000. So, you know, it's going to skew the scale on your chart really bad. So, let's see if we can fix that here. Let's change the scale justification there. There we go. So that's a little better. So we got the ES right on the left side of the chart and the YM on the right side of the chart. And, you know, we can overlay the ES onto the YM. You know, just, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. You can see a little bit how they're correlated, but of course the scalings are different, so it's not all that meaningful. But I guess it does kind of give you some kind of sense of, you know, how correlated the two instruments are. But yeah. All right. So, you know, you can just you know, take Chameleon and just kind of play around with it, and, you know, have fun with it if you want. So, let's see if I, you know, if I took out the instrument, then I could just show the 5-minute data of the YM on top of the 450 tick data like that. And let me set the scaling to the same. Right, let's set the scaling to the right. And so here, right, so we could see the low of the 5-minute bar for the YM, you know, and we could see the high of the 5-minute bar for the YM and the closing price, you know, overlaid on top of this 450 tick chart. So, all right. Yeah, I think we kind of played around with that with Chameleon enough here. So, yeah. So really, to answer RJ's question, let's see. To read a moving average from another time frame, you know what you'd want to do. Let's address this question properly. Let's see here. So let's make a new logic template. So moving average. Let's see. Let's do price versus moving average on ES. 5-minute. So if we want to look at the moving average, you know, do some testing of the moving average on the 5-minute ES chart, let's just do something simple. We'll just look at the slope, you know, so we'll just look at the SMA 14 slope, you know, from the ES 5-minute chart. And just to keep something simple. And there you go. So there's the slope of the SMA 14 on the ES 5-minute chart. So from this point forward, the SMA 14 is sloping down, so it's giving us a short output. And where it's green, that means the SMA is sloping up. All right. And then in the early morning, we can see the SMA 14 is kind of sloping up and down, going up and down a lot. And if we wanted to do the price versus the moving average, let's do that. We'll grab a comparison solver and so let's set input A. We'll just compare the closing price to the SMA 14. So basically we're just going to see if the closing price is above or below the SMA 14. So let's see. So we're going to see if the price is above or below the SMA 14. Like so. And that's on the ES 5-minute chart. And there we go. So there you go, RJ. That's how you do that. Vlad would like an explanation of the MarketAnalyzer plots within BloodHound. Okay, yeah, so let's cover the plots that BloodHound has. And oh, look at that. Shoot, that's the problem with NinjaTrader chart templates. You see all these plots here. These plots don't exist anymore. This short, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those are old reminiscences from years ago. Those plots do not exist anymore within BloodHound, but for some reason NinjaTrader loves to hold on to that stuff when you're using chart templates. So what I'm going to do here is I need to remove BloodHound from my chart, and let me just kind of get my chart situated here, and I'm going to add BloodHound back to my chart. And there we go. So when I add a new BloodHound to my chart, you'll see that we just have 5 plots now. So this is what we'll cover here. First, let me get today's template loaded. So there's today's template. Alright, so what Vlad is asking about is this MarketAnalyzer plot. So back in the older versions of BloodHound, all we had was long confidence and a short confidence. So in the MarketAnalyzer, you had to have 2 columns in the MarketAnalyzer. One column was for long signals coming out of BloodHound, and a second column in the MarketAnalyzer was for short signals, right? So the MarketAnalyzer had to do twice the work, to get signals from BloodHound. So what we did is we came up with a MarketAnalyzer plot, and this plot basically adds the long and short together into one plot, so to speak. So let's turn on this plot so we can see it. And I guess I'll make it white. I'll make it a white square. Let's make it a little thick so we can see it. Alright, and let me just pull up a MarketAnalyzer. So in the MarketAnalyzer, if you want to use BloodHound in it, you can add a indicator, and then we're going to set our indicator, change it to BloodHound, like so. And so you'll notice in the MarketAnalyzer, you have the option to select a plot, right? But you can only select one plot. And so the older BloodHounds, you can only select the long confidence or you could select the short confidence, right? So you couldn't get a long and a short in the same column. It took two columns to be able to get a proper BloodHound signal out of it. But now you can just select the market analyzer plot. And this is an amalgamation of the long confidence and the short confidence together. So that way you only have one column now in the market analyzer instead of having two. So let's take a look here at BloodHound. Let's get rid of that MACD. So hopefully you guys can see the white line there printing on top of the green and red output. So you can see so the white line is the market analyzer plot, and you can see that the market analyzer plot, it's going to plot whichever output is greater. So let's kind of take a look at some of this output here. So let's take a look at this bar here. So you notice how there's a long output and a short output on the same bar, right? But the market analyzer plot, it's plotting the greater of the two. So since the long output is greater than the short output, the market analyzer plot is plotting the long output. And then over here on the next bar over, we can see that the short outputs are now greater. And so the market analyzer plot is plotting the short output. So the simple answer is the market analyzer plot, it looks at the long output and short output, and whichever one is greater, that's the one that the market analyzer plots for you. So let's take a look down here. And here's a unique situation. Look at this on this bar right here. So you notice we have a long output and short output, and they both equal each other, exactly the same. And so the market analyzer plot is actually 0, because neither the long nor the short output is greater than one or the other. So basically you're kind of at a dead tie right there. So the market analyzer plot plots out 0 because you're at a tie. So the market analyzer plot, it will plot the greater of the long or short, and if the long and short are equal, then it plots 0. So I hope that makes sense there. Should be pretty straightforward there. So let's see. I guess we'll just do a quick demo here. There's some thorough, workshop videos on using the market analyzer. But just to kind of throw something in here, let's open this up and let's see. So let's load a template into BloodHound. We'll just let's throw today's in there. And also within the market analyzer, the way you select the logic template is you actually need to select it when you're loading the BloodHound file. So when you're loading the BloodHound file, go into the logic template and select one that you want. Let's see, let's just do this one here. Let's do the price versus moving average on the 5-minute ES. Let's see, we've got the plot set to the market analyzer. And let's see here. I'm going to increase the number of look back bars. Let's set it to 500. And there we go. Let's load some instruments. Let me take off the FDAX. I don't actually get FDAX data. There we go. And let's see, it looks like prices above the, oh, well, these are all actually, that logic template I selected should be looking at only the ES chart here. You should be given the output for the ES chart. And yeah, my guess would be that the price is above the SMA 14. Let's throw that on there. And I gotta say, what I'm doing in the market analyzer through BloodHound, looking at an alternate chart and time frame, I would not suggest doing this with NinjaTrader. It's not a good idea because you're gonna get mixed results. But I'm just really trying to illustrate using the market analyzer with BloodHound. And yeah, price is above our SMA 14, you know, so you can see BloodHound's giving us a +1 output. Right, the +1 output is basically, that's a long output. When it's a +1, that's a long output, and that's because price is above our SMA 14 on the ES 5-minute chart. But anyways, you know, so that is what the market analyzer plot is for the market analyzer. And then there's some other plots here as well. There's a net confidence and a net signal. You know, so simply put, you know, if you want to see what those look like, all you need to do is just kind of go in here and turn those plots on. So let's turn off the market analyzer. We'll look at net confidence. Turn that one on. And you can see what it's doing is it's taking the net value. So it's taking the long output and short output, and it's subtracting the two, and whatever the difference is, whatever the delta is of the long minus the short and the short minus the long, whatever the absolute net value is, that's what the net confidence is. All right, so it's just doing a little simple math for you. And let's turn off the net confidence. And let's turn on the net signal. And you can see the net signal only gives you, right, an output when there's an actual signal. So we can see, right, you see that there's racing stripes here. Oops. Let's see, where'd that go? Here we go. So we can see there's racing stripes here. And the net signal only plots when there's a racing stripe. Right? Basically, and you only get a racing stripe when there's a signal, when there's a trade signal. And so the net signal only plots when there's a racing stripe or a signal. Right? So here we go. Here's some other signals, and here we go. So here's a short signal, and we can see the net signal, the white line. It plotted when there was a short signal, and then it only plots when there's a long signal, right? So when BloodHound output, when there's a BloodHound output, but it's not, when the output is not great enough for a signal, then the net signal doesn't plot. It just stays at 0, and it only prints when there's enough of an output to generate a racing stripe or generate a signal there. Alright, so Mario's got a question about using the fast stochastics. So is there a way to use the fast stochastics to take, to take profits when the stochastic spike hits 100 for a long position and hits 0 for a short position? Let's see. So Mario, it sounds like you want to generate an exit signal. So you want to exit close the trade out if the fast stochastics hits 100 or hits 0. And let's see. Yes. Okay. And then Mario has a follow-up question there. And so he only wants to take profits only if the position is at least 5 ticks in the positive. Yeah, so that can be done in BlackBird. But of course, we'd have to hold on to that for the BlackBird workshop. But we can build the signaling logic in BloodHound, in preparation for the next BlackBird workshop. So we're building really not an exit signal, but just a kind of a market condition signal, right, or an indicator conditioning signal. So let me get my chart set back to normal again, and let's get the fast stochastics on here. All right, so we want to use 5. I'm guessing 5 and 1. Let's see. I guess. Are you using the %D or %K? I'm gonna take a guess that you're using %D. Okay, let's see. So K is 5 and D is 1. So then you're probably using K. So, all right, let's take a look. There we go. Okay. All right, here's our stochastics. And let's clear the drawing tools there. All right. So we want to know when our stochastics hits 0 or hits 100. All right. So this will be pretty simple here. Let's make a logic template here. So let's call this a profit trigger, I guess. Profit trigger for BlackBird. All right, so let's grab a comparison solver. And let's plug that in. All right, so in input A, we're going to set up our fast stochastics. Here's our fast stochastics, and we're using 1 and 5, and we're using the %K like so. And then in B, this is going to be a fixed value. Right, this is a fixed value, and we'll detect 0 at first. We'll detect when the stochastic equals 0. And let's see here. So yeah, so when the stochastic hits 0, that's going to be the for the shorts. Okay, for the shorts. So let's turn off the long output. So when the stochastic hits 0, that's going to be our profits for the short, a short trade. So we need to set A equals B to 1, right? Because the stochastics is never going to get less than 0. It can only equal 0. So we have to set A equals B to 1. And let's see what we get here. Let's see if we get any signals. Okay, there's a couple. There we go. There's a couple. Our stochastic touches 0 there. And we're getting a short output for that. And let's name this in a solver here. Okay, so that's our fast stochastic equals 0. And then let's go to the solver tab and let's make a copy of this. Make a copy of that. And now let's set it up so when to give us a signal when the stochastic equals 100. So we'll change our fixed value down here to 100. And now this is for a long trade. So for a long trade, we're going to output a long output. So when the stochastic equals 100, we want a long output, like so. All right, so now let's go put that new solver on our logic board. So we'll go to the default time frame. There's our new solver that we just added. Fast stochastic equals 100. Plug that in. And there we go. There's a couple of signals there when that stochastic reaches 100. Alright, so we got two solvers, but we need the output from both solvers at the same time. So we're going to have to use an OR node. And there's our stochastic signals there. Alright, so these are basically, these are going to be triggering conditions to use in BlackBird. And then in BlackBird, you would set up in your trailing actions for your profit target. What you do is go into the trailing actions for your profit target and set up a trailing rule so that when you get this BloodHound signal, that it moves your profit target to the last price in BlackBird. Right? So that'll tell BlackBird, move your profit target down to the last price, and the last price is wherever the market is trading at, right? The last price and the market price are one, they're one and the same, two different terms for the same thing. It's wherever the market, it's wherever the market is trading at. So you just want to have a trailing rule in your profit targets that'll move your profit target down to wherever the market is trading. But at the same time, you need a let's see, actually, well, yeah, I guess that's more of a question for BlackBird. So at least we got these signals. So next week we can take a look at this further. um, to refine it further. But so there you go, Mario. That's kind of this setup there. That's the BloodHound logic. That'll get you going for BlackBird. Determine when. Let's see. Determine when price is outside of the Bollinger Band. Alright, yeah, so price needs to be either equal to or lower than the lower Bollinger Band. So let's grab a comparison solver, and we'll just make sure that the closing price is below or equal to the Bollinger Band here. There we go. Alright, so input A, that's going to be price. And it's set to the closing price. And then B, that's going to be our Bollinger. So let's go find the Bollinger. There we go. And we're using a 1 standard deviation in this example. So we're using the lower band for a long signal. And we're using the lower band for a long signal. We're using the upper band for a short signal. Right? Lower band to generate our long signal. We're using the upper band to generate the short signal. So we'll do like that. And now we're looking for price. So we're looking for A to be less than B. So remember, A is our price. So price needs to be less than the indicator. So for a long output, we're looking for A to be less than B. So in other words, we're looking for price to be less than the Bollinger Band. So let's change these outputs here. So price could be equal to the Bollinger Band, or price could be less than the Bollinger Band. And so since we've reversed the long output, we also need to reverse the short output as well. So let's reverse those outputs. Alright, so there we go. So we can see when price is above the upper band or price is below the lower band, like so. Alright, so hopefully we'll get some signals in this area around in here. Alright, so that's just price, below the bands or above the bands. And let's name this solver here. Alright, so price above or below the Bollinger Bands. That looks good. Now, let's look for one of the other conditions here. So, for a long signal, we're looking for the closing price of the bar to close above the prior bar's closing price, or equal. Okay. So, let's see here. Let's find that kind of condition. So we're looking for a condition like this, and let's Alright, so we're looking for the closing price to step up or be equal to, let's see, there's other areas where this would be true as well, like right here, that would be true. The closing price are equal to each other on these two bars, so that condition would be correct as well. Let's see, like right there, the closing price stepped up. So there's a couple of conditions. So there as well, the closing price stepped up. So let's grab another comparison solver. So we're looking at the close of the current bar, so we'll call that 0. To be above or below or equal to the close of the previous bar. Well, let's just say, let's just do it like this. Of the previous bar, the previous close. Something like that as a name. Looks good enough. So we're going to set input A to price, and we're going to set input B to price. Now input B, we want that to be the previous bar, or the last bar's closing price. So we're going to set our look back to 2. Now, so remember, so the closing price of the current bar could be greater than the previous bar, but it also could be equal to. So we need to turn these equals to on as well for the outputs. And so here we go. If we take a look at our output for this, so there you go. So basically the bars were stepping down, so that would be, for a short condition, and here the closing price stepped up, so that would be for a long condition. So the closing prices are stepping down, so that's right, that's a short condition, and we're getting a short output. And then price steps up, so we're getting a long output. And right here the prices are equal, the closing prices are equal. So on this bar we're getting a long and a short output, at the same time. Alright, so there's another condition, and we can start putting these into an AND node. Alright, so there you go. There's 2 conditions, so that's price below the lower band, and then price also stepping up. And now we need to add the stochastic condition in here. And so let's see. So let me read that on the stochastic again. So let's see. Alright, so and price is less than 20% of the percent K. Well, that wouldn't be price. I guess that'd be stochastics has to be less than 20%. Yeah, so the stochastic has to be less than 20 or equal to 20 on the percent K. Okay. Oh, let's see. So the close must be higher or equal to the prior bar's high. Okay. All right. No problem. So let's get that corrected here. Okay. All right. So let's go back into this solver here. All right. Let's connect that up to the result node there. Let's see. All right. So this guy is good. Let's see, not that one. That one's valid. That one's valid. All right. So at least we got 3 situations here on the chart that are valid. That should give us a long output here. So let's go modify the solver here. So for a long, So the current closing price must be greater or equal to the prior bar's high price for a long output. So that means for a short output, we're switch this to the low price of the previous bar. So remember, this is set back, this look back is set to 2. So input B is looking at the previous bar. So let's take a look here. Let's see. Yeah, I believe that's correct. Oh, sorry, that's on last. No wonder. There we go. Set that to short type to low. There we go. That's what I was missing. Okay. That looks better. Yep, so this is still a good for a long condition, this right here. Same for these bars over here. So let's check it back a little bit. Let's see, as price is moving up, yeah, none of these meet the condition for a short situation as far as the price, the bar prices. And yeah, there we go. So that works out right there. Okay, there, I think we got the pricing, the price conditions for the bars worked out there. So, all right, just checking the comments. All right, yeah, I think we're on track. Let's kind of shrink this up a little bit. We'll scan through the chart a little bit. So, yeah. Okay, so we're almost there. So we got the price conditions, the kind of the price bar conditions, and being outside the Bollinger Bands done. Let's see, price. Okay, let's see. So Patrick's giving me some clarification here. So the price must be higher or equal to the prior bar's low. So Patrick, does any of this look incorrect so far? Try and shrink the chart up a little bit. Okay, so far so good. We're on the right track here. So let's add this last condition in. So we need to look at the stochastics here. So we need the stochastics. Perfect setup right here. So we need the stochastics to be at 20 or less than 20. All right, equal or less than 20 for a long setup, or the stochastic, let's see, must be, I'm assuming, greater than 80, equal to or greater than 80, right there. So, all right, so let's add that condition. And to do that, we shall use a threshold solver. Right, so we're looking for the stochastics to be at a threshold of 80 or greater, or 20 or less. So let's put in our stochastics, and yeah, we're just using the default stochastic settings. All right, 7, 14, and 3, and we were using K. So let's switch over to the K plot. And we're looking for 80 or 20 And C, we need to put somewhere in the middle there. So remember, when you're using the threshold solver, the values have to be in descending order. So you can't have a 0 in between the 80 and 20 values that we're looking for. They have to be in descending order. So 0 to 20 is not descending. So we need to put a value somewhere in the middle. And then let's set up our values here. Let's set out our outputs here, like that and like that. And let's see, since it could equal, since it can equal 80s or equal 20, let's do something like this. We'll do 79.999. Oops, that should be 79. There we go. So we'll do 79.999. And then down here, we'll do 19.999. Or, yeah, and we'll put 19.999. Like so. Alright, let's take a look at the output here. Right, so there we go. Whenever the stochastic is below 20, equal to or below 20, we're getting a short. Oh, actually we got that reversed, didn't we? So we got this reversed. So let's reverse our outputs here. There we go. So this is a kind of a reversal system. So we have to reverse our outputs here. There we go. So now when our stochastics is below 20, we're getting a long output. And then when it's above 80, we're getting a short output from just that solver. And so now, let's see if I can find some signals that might get filtered out. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like all these signals are gonna be okay. Doesn't look like there's. Okay, here we go. Here's at least one signal here that's going to get filtered out because our stochastic is above 20 here. So as soon as we take our threshold solver and let's name it first. There we go. So we can do something like this: stochastic, so it's a long for the 20 and short for 80. There we go. And so now let's take our stochastics, plug it into the AND node, and there we go. We've got this signal filtered out there. Okay. So that does it. So one more modification here. So a bi-signal bar must have a lower low than the previous bar. Okay, let's see. Alright, so we need to add a price condition to this. So the current bar must have a lower low than the previous bar. So let's see if that happens anywhere. I'm not sure that's going to happen anywhere. Let's see, at 1357. Correct. Let's see. So why? I wonder why we didn't get a signal there right now. Alright, so that solver is giving us a long output right there. And oh, that's because there we go, it conflicts with this. So we've got the closing price has to be above the previous bar's high. So on a range chart, you can't have both. Yeah, so on a range chart, you can't have the close above the previous bar's high and a low below the previous bar's low. It just, range bars don't work that way. So, okay, so, and we actually need to put this solver back to the way it was. So we're just going to compare closing price to closing price on this solver. Okay, so there we go. There's that. And now we'll, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to take this solver that we've got set up that's comparing the closing prices. I'm going to, yeah, I guess there's no sense in making a copy of it. It's not going to help much. I'll just grab a new solver. So now we're going to have to start doing another price type comparison here. So again, we're going to set input A to price, and we're going to set input B to price. Input B is going to be the previous bar. And so we're comparing, let's see, for a long, we're looking at the low price. For shorts, we're looking at the high price. So we're comparing the low wicks to the high wicks. So let's set those up. And now we're just going to make sure that our outputs are set correctly. And I think we need to reverse our outputs here. Like so. All right, yeah, so looking at this right here, our low is lower than the previous bar's low. And so that's the condition we want for a long setup. So there we go. I think we got that now. Okay, yeah, I think we've got it. All right. So it's gonna take two solvers to look at these two different price conditions here. Two solvers here. And and let's plug that in. Let's connect that up. And let me disconnect the other two solvers here. Okay, so that's just our price conditions right there. And there we go. So the bar in question here, we are getting a long output there. And yeah, we even got another setup there as well. So the close was higher than the previous bar's close, and the low was less than it. So that's a long, and let's see, yep, that would be a long too. All right, there we go. So we're getting there. And so let's put our price conditions up on top, and let's put our Bollinger Band condition in there. There we go, there's our Bollinger Band condition. And now let's add our stochastic condition in. Connect that into the AND node. And there we go. And let's see, yep, our stochastics is below 20 there. All right, there, I think that does it. All right, guys, with that, I say have a great weekend, and be careful of the colds out there. It's cold and flu season, so take it easy, protect yourself, and have a fun weekend. All right, guys? Bye-bye.